What's up guys, you're here with Alex from Social Freedom, and in today's quick tip video, I want to give you a few tips on how you can start to overcome your escalation anxiety. So for me personally, back when I first started learning success with women, this was by far my #1 biggest sticking point. I had a huge fear of moving things forward, getting physical, getting sexual, turning things a little bit more man to woman with the girls that I was meeting. And it's something that I struggled with for a really long time. And if I'm being completely real with you guys, even to this day, I still struggle with escalation anxiety. But thankfully, okay, going through the process of learning success with women, learning self-development, okay, I was able to learn a very effective escalation ladder, okay, giving me a step-by-step process on how I can actually move things forward physically. Okay, but also on top of that, and this is the topic I'm going to talk about today, is some very empowering mindsets around escalation that allow you to actually overcome that fear and anxiety when it comes to escalation. So that's what I'm going to focus on in today's video. Let's jump straight into it. So the biggest point I want to make in this video is that you need to understand physical escalation, or moving things forward in your interactions, okay, or on the dates that you're going on, is a necessary part of the process. If you do not escalate, you do not make things a little bit more physical, you don't sexualize, okay, you don't add that little flair to the interaction, this is a fast track to the friend zone. Okay, I'm sure you've all been in a situation before where maybe you've been on a date with a really attractive girl, you've been super excited about it, you went on the date, you thought you crushed it, but maybe on that date, you were a little anxious when it came to moving things forward. Maybe you didn't go for the handhold, you didn't put your arm around her, you didn't, flirtatiously make some cheeky little statements of intent. Maybe you didn't go for the kiss, or most importantly, at the end of the date, you didn't actually invite her to come home with you, right? Again, out of pure fear and anxiety about moving things forward, because you think that if you do move things forward sometimes on the dates or the interactions that you're having, you may fuck it up. And I get it. I understand the anxiety that you feel. But we've all been in a situation where we've been on those dates and we didn't move things forward, right? And then we never seen those girls again. And at first you're probably thinking to yourself like, fuck, I thought the date was so good. I was a gentleman. I didn't try to push things forward too quickly. I didn't sexualize. I thought we had great conversation. I thought we had chemistry. Why did I never get to see this girl again? And I'm letting you know, the biggest reason why you probably aren't seeing these girls again is because your inability to actually move things forward, turn things a little bit more sexual, getting physical, okay? Moving things forward in general, okay? This is the #1 biggest thing that'll be holding you back. So what I want to try to do is, now I want to have you have the ability to cultivate a mindset, okay, or a perspective, a frame of mind, if you will, that will allow you to start feeling more anxiety and more fear about not escalating, okay, than the fear that you have about actually, moving things forward, getting physical and getting sexual. Okay, I want you to have so much anxiety and so much fear within your own body, okay, when you're on these dates or you're in these interactions with girls at the club. I want you to be thinking to yourself, holy shit, if I don't move things forward, I'll never see this girl again. And you know for a fact, you motherfuckers know that when you don't move things forward and you have had these experiences where you didn't escalate, you never see the girl again, or you end up friend zoned. So this is the biggest thing I want to push on. This is what I learned for myself, right? It's like I went out so many different times to a variety of different nightclubs. I met a huge amount of girls. I went on heaps of different dates, and I found myself in scenarios where, the interaction just wasn't moved forward. I never got to see the girl again. Again, why? Probably because I wasn't fucking goddamn escalating. I wasn't being a little bit more sexual. I wasn't trying to be a little more physical. And because of this, through a variety of different reference experiences, I started to realize, like, holy shit, what's the one thing that's missing on my dates? What's the one thing that's missing in my interactions compared to all these other guys that are out there fucking crushing it with women, is my inability to actually move things forward. Okay, and it was just purely because of anxiety. But once I started going on dates and I realized this, I realized if I didn't move things forward, okay, if I didn't escalate, if I didn't go for the kiss, if I didn't invite her home, every single time that I did this, I started to see a pattern. And this pattern was, oh, well, nice to meet you. Oh, hey, I think we should just be friends. I really enjoyed my time with you, but I just don't see you that way. Dude, it was such a frustrating experience for me that I started to realize, like, hang on a minute. Maybe if I just start, purposely escalating, purposely moving things forward, turning things a little sexual, even though it's uncomfortable for me and I don't have that much confidence in doing it. Let's see what happens. And the minute I started doing this is when I started consistently taking girls home way more often, okay? And also, importantly, I started, seeing these girls again. Why? Because I moved things forward. I got over my not approach anxiety, sorry boys. I got over my escalation anxiety. And I remember about a year ago, by far the most attractive girl I had ever been on a date with, right? Like I was super stoked about going on a date with this chick. And she was a cheeky chick because she kind of friend zoned me before the date, but she was so attractive that I was kind of like, fuck it. Like number one mindset here at Social Freedom, just go for it, right? So I went on this date with this girl and, she wasn't super comfortable touch. I remember like trying to add in a few little escalations, some flirty statements of intent, things like this. And she wasn't super receptive because she already preset the frame, if you will, that we were just friends. But I ended up realizing at the end of the date, I had two options here. I knew for a fact through reference experiences, if I didn't move this forward, if I didn't try to escalate, if I didn't try to get physical with her, I was probably never going to see her again. Okay, and two things are going to happen. Either I move things forward and I try to get physical and she rejects me, okay, fine. If that happens, then hey, guess what? I'm in the friend zone. I accept that that's my now current reality. I'm going to go out there and meet another girl. Or alternatively, I do move things forward. I do escalate on her. And then maybe that sparks a bit of attraction. Maybe she gets a little aroused. Maybe that turns things around. She starts to see me differently. I can bring this girl into my life. And luckily, because I had this mindset, okay, at the end of the date, I remember we're looking over at the bridge here in Brisbane and I put my hand on her waist and I squeezed slightly. Okay, this is like one of my first and biggest escalation moves of the date, right? And I didn't think that much of this little escalation. She slightly kind of moved away and wasn't super comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, okay, after I made this escalation, okay, and again, thinking at this point, she gave me a bit of a red light, if you will. I thought that I was actually, it was a dud. I thought I was friend zoned. I thought that nothing was really going to come of it, right? Anyway, at the end of the date, she ended up letting me know. She's like, look, I actually would be, more than happy for you to come home with me tonight, but I'm just really tired. I can't tonight, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. Fine, sweet. I end up driving back to where I was staying. An hour later, she sends me a message and she says, hey, I kind of changed my mind. I just can't stop thinking about our date. And she mentioned in this text message, it was the way that I touched her. And I was like, this is so fucking interesting. So anyway, long story short, she booty calls me. I go over and we end up hooking up. And I asked her at the end of this lovemaking session, I said, what was the moment the moment that you decided that you were open to hooking up with me? Because like you literally mentioned that we're just friends. There was nothing going to happen between us physically or sexually before the date. What was the determining factor that made you change your mind? She looks me in the eyes and she says, it was the moment that you touched my waist and you squeezed like this part of the body, right? It was the moment that you did that. She's like, I don't know, just for some reason, it just created this, I felt this like electricity. I felt this click of like arousal, however the fuck she described it. She just got turned on, right? And I thought to myself, like, holy shit, like just a simple little escalation like that was a determining factor that allowed me to bring this girl into my life. And if it wasn't for all of those previous reference experiences I had with all these girls, that when I was going on dates and I didn't move things forward, and I never got to see them again, if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't have realized like how important escalation actually is. And I hope from this little story, I know I'm on a bit of a rant here, guys, and I apologize for that, but I hope you can understand from this story, it's like how important escalation actually is. So if you are the type of guy that finds themselves on a lot of different dates, or you find yourself out there at the clubs and you're meeting a variety of different women and things just don't seem to be moving forward, I want you to ask yourself, like, are you moving things forward? Are you escalating? Are you turning things physical? Are you allowing the interaction to become a little more sexual? And if the answer is no, that is probably your number one biggest sticking point right now, and that's the one thing that's probably holding you back from having a lot more success with women. Okay, so the gist of this video was just understand that every single time you go on a date, or every single time you're at the club and it's time, okay, it's time to move things forward, maybe adding a little physicality, going for a handhold, putting your arm around her, making a cheeky, flirtatious statement of intent, going for the kiss, inviting her home, whatever escalation move it's time for, make sure you do it. Because if you don't, you will most likely never see that girl again. And from this day forward, I want you to have more fear about the fact that if you don't move things forward, okay, you're never gonna see her again. So when it is time to escalate, you're gonna be like, fuck it. Like, what do I actually have to lose? It's either friend zone, okay, friend zone, or I make something happen. That's literally it. As simple as that. Cool. Thank you for dealing with my little rant, and I hope you enjoyed this quick tip video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.